Heroes, it's Debbie Levitt from Delta CX, and it is Tuesday, so that means office hours. Ask me anything. I hang out for an hour and I take your questions. All questions are welcome. Haven't seen one I haven't liked yet. I am now getting ready to turn on all of my systems. Remember, you can ask questions using the anonymous link below, deltacx.link/AMA. That'll come into my email and I will check it out. I can also take questions through the LinkedIn chat and through the YouTube chat. And I'm also turning on my system that will check #DeltaCX on Twitter for anything that might be a question. So I am watching for all these things. We do have some questions that were sent to me ahead of time because this URL is good all week round, and I collect your questions as they come in and I save them for today. And since these are always archived on the YouTube channel, and of course, won't you please subscribe? Usability test the subscribe button, make sure it's working, and subscribe on YouTube, where we now have over 1,000 subscribers, thanks to all of you. So if you subscribe, then you will know there's lots of good stuff going on there. I will tell you in a moment what's coming, but let's open up some windows. And of course, everything's always archived there. You'll find it in the playlist called Office Hours, Ask Me Anything. So let's see, open up Windows. And I will also get the questions ready. We got lots of questions already, and I've got 5 questions ahead of time, but start sending yours in and we'll get them on the end of the to-do list for today. So first of all, the first question I got says, "Hi Debbie, why do you prefer Axure over the other prototyping tools like Sketch plus Figma, Adobe XD, Figma, I guess without Sketch, Framer, etc.?" So thanks for the question. I'm happy to answer that. And of course, also remember, I am running an Axure workshop coming up in early December. Hello, Maggie. I'm glad Maggie is here. You can find it at deltacx.link/DEC2020. I'm doing a 2-day live core skills, which will level you up from Holy Cats Axure is Scary to Confident Intermediate. So let's talk a little bit about why I prefer Axure. Mostly I prefer Axure because of all of the prototyping tools that I've seen, heard about, or experimented with. To me, Axure does the most while also being having less of a learning curve. Like a week or so ago, I looked at Just in Mind, which I hadn't looked at in many years, and I still felt like to do some of the things that I can do in Axure comfortably, I felt like I needed to know physics with calculus for Just in Mind. Maybe Just in Mind is more powerful than Axure. Maybe it's better. I don't know. I only know that the way that they've designed their interface, it just isn't a good match for me. So in general, I'm not using Sketch, Figma, Framer, Adobe XD types of things because when I do prototypes, I'm going for realism. I believe the number one thing we need to do when we prototype is to make it realistic. If you don't care if your prototype's realistic, you can make wireframes. But if we're going to be doing usability testing, why are we usability testing something that doesn't really represent a more realistic version of our product? I don't understand why we are usability testing paper prototypes, which are early concept sketches. I don't know why we're usability testing some of these other prototypes that I see that don't really work the way that the product is going to work. I think to me the choice is about realism, and I think everyone's choice should be for realism. And that's really it. I can make that short today. Realism counts in prototypes. Why are you making non-realistic prototypes? And is your testing flawed because that's what you're working with? So, Ragurai, I'm sorry if I pronounced that badly, says, "Hi Debbie, I always try to join your live streams and every time I'm able to add something to my knowledge." Cool, I hope so. Thanks for joining. And let's see what other questions came in before today. And let's see, I've got some emails. Is anybody sending questions yet? No. No, these are spam emails. Boo. Okay, so let's go back to other questions that came in during the week. Next question. Do you use any tools, etc., to measure user behavior in web applications that you find useful? I am thinking along the lines of Teston and HotJar, etc. Super question as well. So I haven't used them lately, but I have in the past used HotJar. I do like it. Obviously, it is a little bit more passive in that you set up scripting on your site and then you are looking at heat maps, or you're trying to stop people before they leave with a little mini poll and see what's going wrong. Or of course, you're watching silent movies of people using the site. To me, it's like pseudo qualitative research, because we are seeing people do things and we can try to create insights or draw conclusions. But I really think the best thing that we can do from things like HotJar and some of its more expensive cousins, which might be Full Story, or which I haven't tried yet, or 4C, which I saw some years ago but not recently. I think that it's really a good tool to use to spin up qualitative research. Wow, it looks like a lot of people are doing this. Let's find out what they're doing and why, and see if that's a workaround, or see if there's an opportunity there for us to fix something. So I am currently a paying customer of HotJar, really in a low level. I don't think I pay very much each month. You know, I'm on that little plan. But it is something that I like, but I really haven't, you know, I forgot I'm paying for it. You know, it's something that I've been running on one of my other sites, and I don't usually think about it. So at some point I would like to try Full Story, because I think that might maybe give me more information. But again, I tend to not be a heavy quantitative person, because if 85% of people do something, what does that mean? You know, doesn't mean they're doing it right. Maybe they all made the same mistake. There's so much more to learn. So I'd like to test drive Full Story at some point, but I'm honestly not even too sure, you know, how much these things would really mean. I sometimes use them to be passive with smaller clients. You know, sometimes we get really small website clients for small businesses, and we need to try to figure out something that's going on their website now, but they don't want to pay for a real UX study. So it's a little bit of a stand-in with a smaller client with a much smaller budget. So they have their uses, but I wouldn't rely on them too much. And Ragorai says, hey, these days, or especially in the ongoing pandemic, it's hard to get a design mentorship, and to solve this problem, I'm considering buying your book. Can you share anything about cloud marketplaces? Only if you tell me what you mean by cloud marketplaces. What is a cloud marketplace? Do you mean Shopify or something else? So we're going to have to learn what he, she, they means by that, and we will come back to that question. So meanwhile, I'm going to move forward with some of the other questions that came in during the week, and then we'll circle back to your question. And that is, the question I got says, hey Debbie, I came over the term design ops recently. However, I find it hard to grasp what it actually is. It seems to be a weird and ill-defined term. Can you help me out of this confusion? I can certainly try. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the Nielsen Norman Group webpage on design ops. It is an article they wrote in mid-2019, so it's relatively new. And I'm going to tell you what Nielsen Norman Group says design ops are, and then I'm going to tell you what I think of that. So NNG says, design ops refers to the orchestration and optimization of people, processes, and craft in order to amplify design's value and impact at scale. So what I take from that is design strategy and design evangelism. Then Nielsen Norman Group says, design ops is a collective term for addressing challenges such as growing and evolving design teams, finding and hiring people with the right skills, creating efficient workflows, improving the quality and impact of design outputs. To me, this says department and company level customer experience strategy. You can read through this page again if you just Google. I'll put it in the YouTube description, but it's let me put it in the chat so everybody can see it. Let's see. Let's paste it in and paste it into LinkedIn. I always have to go to all these windows separately, so please excuse me. There we go. So that's what I'm looking at. And ultimately, what I would have to say is every time I look up design ops, I have a really hard time distinguishing it between strategy. I am not sure what is the difference between having a company-wide, department-wide, project, team-wide, project-wide. I think of these as having these strata, these levels. I'm not sure what's the difference between having strategies and standardizations at all of these levels and calling it design ops. So I think that we're just calling this design ops. That's the impression that I get. Again, the Nielsen-Norman page says the three main areas of design ops are how we work together, team composition, environment, hiring, career development, how we get work done, guiding principles, design process, design systems, research hubs, estimation and allocation. So that's going to be who works on what projects. And the third one is how our work creates impact. So measuring impact, socializing impact, and enabling impact. I don't see the difference between this and what I have been calling UX, high-level UX strategy. Certainly we have strategies at our project level, but to me, once you're strategizing at the department level and or the company level, because you are a director or higher, I just think of that as strategy, but I guess we call that design ops, maybe to differentiate it from the strategy we take towards a project. I think, in my book, I say I don't like the term design ops because I feel like now we've just thrown ops at everything. Ever since we had DevOps and other things, everyone's like, oh yeah, name something ops. But the reality is, if it's meaningless to you and you're not sure what it means, and I'm not totally sure what it means, and I'm not really using it, and maybe you're not using it, I'm not too sure it's a super meaningful term. So I would say to people, you can use it if you want, but you might have to explain to someone what you mean by it, because I don't know. I don't necessarily know what you mean by it. Ragarai has written in, a cloud marketplace is a type of application marketplace. It is synonymous with SaaS marketplace. At a cloud marketplace, customers can go to an online storefront to find, purchase, and manage cloud-based applications. Can you suggest or recommend any specific UX practice? Absolutely not, because I can't recommend a specific UX practice without knowing much more about the project. I mean, to me, my UX approach is user-centered design. So before I can say anything about what somebody should be doing related to a cloud marketplace, is we should be researching who needs this, when do they use it, why do they use it, what are their options, what are the tasks they're trying to complete, what are their workarounds. Then we learn who's using this and why. We learn their tasks, their needs, their expectations, motivations. Then we can try to build the right thing for those people. So I can't just say, oh yeah, cloud-based applications do this. That's a really kind of broad thing, and I'm not familiar with those customers. And even if I were, that wouldn't mean that I have the right advice for a new project. So always do extensive qualitative UX research first, so that you know who you're building for and what their current experiences are with your product or competing products, and then go from there. So I'm sorry, I don't have a magic bullet for that. Okay, we've got some more questions coming in. I will add them to the end of the list. We are starting today with a long list because I got some emails in, and I see one in the email as well. We're coming in from all over the place. So let's add them to the list. Alrighty. So let's see what my next question was. This was sent in ahead of time. Have you ever built a design system, and do you have any suggestions as to what design and prototyping tools can integrate into or leverage a design system? Okay, another super question. So my answer to that is I have art directed a design system, but since I am not a strong visual designer, I haven't made the design system myself. I am also art directing a design system now. The tools that I tend to use, I tend to lean on Zeppelin because it was one of the first that I found. That's Zeplin. That doesn't mean it's the best. It's just the first one I found, and so it seemed like a good choice. There's so many of them. I think if you just Google design system repository, or there's so many, or competitor to Zeppelin, there's a lot of them out there, and I don't have a preference of one or the other. To me, that's a deal that the visual designer should be making with the front-end developer. Have them assess the tools, and because they're the ones that have to use it all the time, so I don't want to force a tool people don't like on them. So maybe have them assess those tools and see which ones they like among Zeppelin and its competitors. I also, because I use Axure sometimes in a design system, I will also end up making an Axure library of the components or elements. And use Axure global widget styling. So that's something that I might do because at least I can do that. But again, as a non-visual designer, my involvement in design systems is a little bit more on the edge because I'm usually just kind of art directing them and checking for accessibility and some other things. So I'm sorry I don't have the best answer there. We did do, if you search live stream podcasts, we did talk a little bit about design systems back in like episode 13 or something. I'm not sure if we talked about tools for repositories or leveraging the system, but there's a lot of recommendations out there, and I haven't heard bad reviews of any of these. So my current assumption, and it's an assumption, not having tried a lot of them myself, is that they're all fairly comparable, and it's a pick what you like marketplace. Okay. Someone heard, I guess maybe yesterday's podcast, and said, I heard you mention Lean Six Sigma and their green belt program in today's podcast. That was yesterday, which got me wondering, where do you take these courses or trainings? Anything you would want to recommend? Okay, so I'm currently in a Lean Six Sigma green belt program. I definitely want to finish it, but I'm not sure whether or not I will take the certification test because it seems a little grueling, but I still want the knowledge of Lean Six Sigma green belt level. And this reminds me of something I talked about when I did the podcast a week or so ago about what is the value of UX education or certificate, which is more important to me, the knowledge of Lean Six Sigma and doing some of that work, or having the certificate. Well, either way, I want to have the knowledge. And if I end up with the certificate too, maybe somebody's impressed by that and I'll get it at some point. I just chose, I went on the website for Lean Six Sigma and I looked at who were some of the companies that they said had like approved online training courses. So I kind of started there, and I don't remember the name of that. Was that ISSOC? Who was that? ISSOC? Who's in charge of Six Sigma? No, not that's school sports. Six Sigma certification. IASSC.org. That's why it was in my brain. IASSC.org appears to be some sort of third-party credential for Lean Six Sigma, and then I looked at who did they say had approved courses, and I kind of looked at some reviews and I price shopped a little bit. So there's one that I chose. You may or may not like it. You can take a look. This is not sponsored. I'm not paid to recommend it. I paid these people over $600 for this. I went with Simply Learn, and that's simply with an I at the end. So SIMPLI learn.com. They have Lean Six Sigma. I'm doing Lean Six Sigma Green Belt. They had a package where you got access to it's 56 hours of courses. I think I'm like 40% done, but it's slow going because I'm taking notes on everything the guy is saying so that I have a really good set of notes later, because it won't make sense to try to go back to the videos. So I'm taking just mountains of notes on everything he says, so it's slow going. Then they want you to do projects, then you have to do a test. So I may or may not make it through the test, but I am enjoying learning about Lean Six Sigma, and I think there's some neat things we should use in our everyday universes. There you go. So let's see, anything else coming in? Spam emails? No. Okay. And Rye, thank you, Rye, says, Rye has another question. We'll add yours to the end of the list because there's a long list today. Thanks for everybody who is waiting in the queue. So the next question is from a friend of the show, Rahat, and Rahat says, what's your view on the Hacking Growth book? I've got to admit, I do not make a lot of time to read books. There's lots of great people out there who make lots of time to read all the books that come out, and so they're going to have opinions on these. I've got to admit, I have not read this book, and honestly, I do not make a lot of time to read a lot of books. So that being said, I would have to say I do not have an opinion on the Hacking Growth book. I'm trying to look at it on Amazon right now. Excuse me. Growth hacking methodology. Yeah, it's some of the marketers I know aren't for that. Growth hacking. You hear that all the time, and I just want to make sure I'm using the best definition possible before I say something stupid. Growth hacking is in relation to early stage startups who need massive growth in a short time on a small budget, but big companies try to do it too. Acquire as many users or customers as possible while spending as little as possible. A growth hacking team is typically marketers, developers, engineers, and product managers. Focus on building the user base. They try to use social media, viral marketing, targeted advertising. I'm not too sure what's special about this. I'm not even sure why it has a name. This just sounds like something everybody does. Am I missing something? Social media, viral marketing, targeted advertising. Instead of using radio, newspaper, and television, hello, is anybody listening to radio, reading newspapers? We barely even watch television. We all binge watch these streaming services. Lots of optimization and A/B testing. I don't know, this just sounds normalish to me. So I am not too sure what's so special about growth hacking. Rahat, you tell me. This just sounds like the way we market and advertise things today, through social media, through influencer marketing, through trying to make things go viral, through SEO, through A/B testing. So I'm not too sure what's so special about it. But again, I have not read the book, so I cannot say what I think of that. So sorry about that. Find somebody who read the book. So let's take a look at what else is coming in the questions. And let's see what I can find. So someone has asked, or you asked, who asked it? No, somehow this came in. Could you explain the difference between comparative and parallel analysis? No, I have not heard these phrases before, so now I'm going to Google them. Parallel analysis is a statistical method used to determine the number of components to keep in a principal component analysis or factors to keep in an exploratory factor analysis. So no, I have not taken statistics yet, though data and statistics is the unit I'm in now in the MBA that I'm taking, so maybe I will run into this, but I do not previously have an MBA. I do not have a master's in research, where you would have learned statistical approaches. So if this is what it looks like it is, parallel analysis is one of the more accurate methods for determining the number of factors or components to retain. Nope, I haven't run into this yet in my entire life or career. Comparative analysis. That was parallel analysis. Comparative analysis is a method of analyzing your competitors and comparing how your site or tool performs in relation to the competitors. Okay, so just that kind of, I'm trying to think of this as something else. Competitive analysis. Sure, I do that all the time. What's the question again? The difference between comparative and parallel analysis? Definitely not. Because comparative analysis, I understand if it means what, I would say, person who wrote the question, give me your definitions of these and write back, because I can't even totally tell what these things are. It sounds like parallel analysis is something that comes from statistics, which I have not yet studied. Comparative analysis is a data analysis technique for determining what logical conclusions a data set supports. It's out from Wikipedia, and I'm super guessing here. It sounds like, oh, I see. Comparative analysis is not competitor analysis. It's a data analysis technique for determining which logical conclusions a data set supports. I think if you go by Wikipedia, and I'm super guessing here, the difference sounds like comparative analysis determines which logical conclusions a data set supports, and parallel analysis sounds like, we just saw this before, which factors you can retain. So I guess it's what you're ruling out versus what conclusions you support. I gotta say, I don't know. I have not done statistics and statistical analysis, so this one's gonna be over my head. Anybody with a master's degree want to chime in on this one? Because I don't know. Anybody? No. Maybe. Frederick says, I find heat maps to be quite useful in talking to or convincing non-UX people who trivialize or are skeptic towards our findings. I think heat maps can be fun to show, but I'm not sure they have a lot of information where I can really prove something with them. If you look at a heat map, now what do? Hey, look, they didn't scroll down very far. Great. Keep putting the good stuff at the top of the page. So I'm just never too sure if any of these things are super actionable, though I know they are interesting to show other people. It's interesting to show them heat maps. It's interesting to show them some of those videos from a HotJar or something like that. I'm not saying these things are worthless, but I'm not sure they're as super powerful as we may have thought. So this is Office Hours Ask Me Anything. While I wait for some more questions, and Rai has a question, please do subscribe on YouTube. It's the best place to find me, much more reliable than LinkedIn, and have empathy for the like button. Hit that like button on YouTube. Let the algorithm know you like stuff like this. And we've got over 300 people in our Slack workspace. There is no charge to join it. This is not some sort of membership community where you have to pay. Everybody's welcome. It's a little quiet over there, but everybody is welcome. So won't you please join there? And then, of course, don't forget to sign up for my upcoming Axure video courses and live 2-day workshop, deltacx.link/DEC2020. For only $60, you can become a confident intermediate Axure prototyper live with me. Rai says competitive, you compare your product with others in the same industry. Comparative, it's more as a synonym for lightning demos. I don't think so. I don't think so. I'm going to go with no. But Rai has another question that we should talk about. Rai says, if I were to explain to my friends why lean UX is not good, how do I do it? I think the best way to do it is to go to YouTube and search Delta CX Lean UX. I think you're going to get a whole bunch of videos. I'm going to do that right now. Let's go to YouTube, and you're going to have a whole bunch of videos of different lengths from me that all say Lean UX is garbage and completely evil. Let's see what comes up if I search Delta CX Lean UX. Okay, you've got my podcast episode 35. The Lean UX book is neither lean nor UX. And oh, wow, Google is showing my own ads to me on YouTube. Okay, why not? You're going to see the podcast that ran almost an hour and a half, so you want to watch that at 2x or take the best of out of there. I've got one of my new perspectives videos up. That one is 5 minutes long, and it talks about why lean UX is garbage. So that one is a short 5-minute video called "Is Lean UX a Good Model or Method? When would I use Lean UX? Do you recommend the Lean UX book?" And then also I've got a 5-minute video called "Is it best for UX juniors and newbies to first learn design thinking, Lean UX, or a mini version of UX?" Basically, if you search Delta CX Lean UX, you'll have a whole bunch of different videos of different lengths that you can check out. The short version of the answer, it would be that Lean UX is neither lean nor UX. It does not fit any of the original definitions of lean. Lean is all about, if you look up the history of lean is all about changing processes and approaches and other things so that we can identify and reduce or eliminate waste or defects. So anything in our processes that is wasteful, we want to reduce or eliminate that. That would be lean. But unfortunately, some people have decided, no, lean is just going as fast as you can and skimping on stuff and guessing and just going to the next step. That's not really lean. I don't know what it is, but it's not really lean by the original definition from Toyota. So lean UX does not fit Toyota's original definition. Lean UX has a lot of bizarre and wasteful things that make it anti-lean. It's also definitely not UX because it's one of those fake UX methods that I like to call aspirologies, and it tries to do UX by saying there are no specialists. Everybody can do UX. Everybody's a designer. Everybody's a researcher. Everybody is equally good at planning research, executing research, interpreting research, doing information architecture, designing, testing, etc. And magically, all these other people have time to do our work with us. Lean UX says you should never do anything alone. You should always work with someone else, which they call collaboration, but I call codependent design by committee. When do I get to do work myself? Lean UX says never. So there's pretty much nothing to like about Lean UX, but I find that some juniors and newbies are stumbling upon it because what they love about it is they don't have to know anything about UX. You could be absolutely terrible at UX. You could be completely unqualified, and you could do Lean UX because Lean UX doesn't require you to be any good at UX. It doesn't require you to have any knowledge, any skill, any proficiency. And it says do everything by a group, by a team. What is the greatest way to hide your inabilities in any field? If I am a terrible plumber, I am going to want to do plumbing with other plumbers so nobody notices what a terrible plumber I am. So Lean UX has a bit of a boost right now from juniors who are trying to find something they can do that says UX that doesn't require them to be any good at it. And they found design thinking, they found design sprints, and they found Lean UX. And they all kind of belong in the same bucket because they all do give fake UX work to people who may not be any good at UX. And that's bad because if we do that, and if we do that where we work, then we teach our companies they don't really need us. The product manager can do UX. The engineers can do UX. I'm just here putting sticky notes on walls. Ooh, look at me. So I think Lean UX and design thinking and design sprints, if people really took them that seriously, definitely have the power to completely eliminate the entire field of UX, because if we teach people that anybody's a design thinker and anybody can do a design sprint and everybody does Lean UX as a team thing, what do you need me for? So there you go. Moving on, let's see if there's anything in the emails. Nope. So we've got Rahat's question, which is, what are the best practices for UX research documentation? Oh, I feel like I just saw an article on that. Didn't NNG just do an article on that? I think NNG just posted an article on, they just posted an article on UX research I think repositories. I think how to use different tools and systems so that there is a centralized place for all of your research. And that way you can find it, your teammates can find it, other people can find it, everybody can find it. Jason's got a great question coming up. We will attack this one next. Oh, Jason, thank you so much for this one. I can't wait to answer it. So for me, the best practices for UX research documentation is first we have to think about who is the audience. Is the audience for your research documentation maybe some of your information architects or designers who need to take that information and now build and architect from that? If so, I would make a little bit longer documentation for those people. I do tend to make much more thorough documentation, video clip montages, reports with lots of quotes, because those people need this information to do their job. And if we give them anything that is too small or boiled down, they're missing out on important patterns, findings, insights. So I really want to give them something with a lot of insights. If the documentation is going to some of our other teammates who don't need to get that into the weeds, I usually go a little bit more high level. I usually stick more to here's some of the insights that we learned and here's some of the suggestions, some directions we might go in, but no solutions, nothing yet. But I try to keep it a little bit more, I might still do quotes and the video montage, but I keep it much more high level with kind of general patterns and general findings. That's my habit, but again, there are more qualified UX researchers out there than me, so we should check what they think. Anybody here, a specialized UX researcher, want to talk about how you do your documentation? But that's normally what I'm doing, and it really depends what the project is. I'm doing a project right now that's a remote observational study with 70 participants. We have a bunch of stuff that we put into mural boards and Miro boards. We came up with typologies because we're not really creating personas for this client, so we came up with our own typologies. I have a number of Excel spreadsheets taking a look at who the participants were and trying to see if I can find any statistical correlation between different qualities we know about them plus the typologies we came up with. Hint, no correlation. But it was fun to look anyway. Thank you to Oz Excel on Fire on YouTube for teaching me how to do pivot tables. We're going to have a giant document with a lot of findings, and the client also asked for an Excel spreadsheet or Google Sheet that's going to have some general insights that we have, and then using some different prioritization matrices, how important we think some of these different fixing some of these different things is. Now, I might not give that same documentation to the next client, so sometimes I just have to figure out what's right for the project, but I would say my documentation for other members of the internal UX team would be extensive because I really want them to know everything so they can build the best stuff, and my documentation for other cross-functional team members who might be more of my collaborators would probably be more high-level insights with some quotes and clips rather than all the things. I hope that helps, Rahat. Thank you for your many good questions and your Tuesday hanging out with me. And now we're going to get to the Jason. So let's open up my windows. Okay, got it. So let's put Jason up on the screen because he came in through YouTube. I can't put LinkedIn comments on the screen. Sorry, everybody. Another great reason to be in YouTube. I can put your comment up on the screen. Jason says, there are many Medium articles on conducting task analysis. How can I differentiate the good from the fluffy ones? Super question. Jason, nearly all of those articles I would call fluffy. And here's why. Many of them were written by people who were still in UX boot camps. What I learned is that there's a certain boot camp that does a chapter, unit, whatever you want to call it, on task analysis. And they have everybody write an article. Somebody told me how this goes. I may get this wrong, so I may remember this incorrectly, but people write an article about task analysis or how they approached it. Their advisor looks at the article, and if the advisor likes it, they usually recommend that you publish it somewhere. And of course, most people aren't necessarily keeping their own blog. Medium is the world's blog. and has no standards, so people publish it on Medium, which means if you go to Medium and you search for task analysis, or more specifically, task analysis painting a room, you will literally find over 200 articles. And they're all kind of fluffy because they are probably written by people who are just learning. They've probably never really done task analysis at any paying corporate job. They're probably just starting to learn some of the early concepts around task analysis, which in my opinion makes them not the best people to learn from. I would rather learn stuff from Larry Marine, from Darren Hood. From Nick Fine. I want to learn from the people who have been doing this stuff for many years, rather than the person who's been doing this for 6 months or is still in the bootcamp learning. This is why the person in the bootcamp learning does not do office hours Ask Me Anything every Tuesday, because they probably couldn't answer most of these questions because they only know what the bootcamp has taught them so far. So, Jason, in my opinion, the best person to talk to about task analysis is Larry Marine. He is the guy. There's also another flavor of task analysis called jobs to be done. You can look up some information on that. That's also got a definition in Agile, and it's being used a little bit in UX, so be careful. You might find jobs to be done in Agile as well as in UX. But task analysis is highly important. I am not sure boot camps are doing it justice. And what I say in one of my short perspectives videos is, when you see a Medium article, when you see a talking head on YouTube, when you see any of these things, go find that person on LinkedIn and just look at what they've been doing for the last 10 years and how much of it is specialized UX versus how much of it was some other career, or when did they go to a boot camp, things like that. And I've found that most of these people writing on Medium are still in a boot camp, or just graduated a boot camp, or wrote the article when they were in the boot camp, even though now it's 2 years later. So this is true for anything that you find. Please look up the source, because there's a lot of crappy Instagram posts out there teaching you wrong ways to make personas. There's crappy Medium articles on there on task analysis, painting a room. And I don't want to, I'm not learning from these. I'm learning from the people who have way more experience than I do. Not the people who are 6 months ahead of me in their career path. The people who have way more experience than I do, years more experience. And to me, Larry Marine is one of the inventors of the whole task analysis thing. I mean, he has decades of amazing case studies where he incorporated task analysis into work he did in the 90s. He's the guy I want to learn from. So before you press like on that Instagram post and the tweet and the Medium article, take a good look at who wrote it and when they wrote it. And you know, I just say there's a time to be the teacher and there's a time to be the student. And I'm not too sure why people in boot camps are trying to look like teachers and leaders, because it can make you accidentally look arrogant. And if you've got incorrect information, now you're confusing people. You're teaching them wrong things, wrong ways. How can we live with that? If we supposedly have empathy and we care about people, how can you live with yourself possibly accidentally teaching people wrong things, wrong ways? That would, if I were a student, that would like paralyze me. I'd be like, oh God, I can't write about this. Like, what do I know? Whoa. Thank you, Jason. So this is Office Hours Ask Me Anything. I'm here about another 20 minutes. I'm here every Tuesday, starting at 6:30 p.m. Italy time. I'm in Italy. That's where I live. That's all I'll tell you about that. And what else can I tell you? Oh, let me tell you what's coming up on the podcast, because we have some really fun stuff coming up, and I hope you'll all mark your calendars. Let me open up my calendar on my phone. I'm an Android girl. Tomorrow is Joel Barr is coming back to talk about combating common reasons that companies have to skimp on research. Boo! We hate when companies skimp on research, and we want to learn how to fight against that. So if you're into research, you want to be there, or of course watch it archived on the YouTube channel. Everything's always archived in the live stream podcasts playlist or one of the other playlists. Thursday is an extra podcast this week. We're going to have Darren Hood and Dr. Nick Fine on to talk about how UX juniors can stand out. And I mean from each other. Because right now it's kind of like this big ocean of juniors that all seem to have the same low level of skill. So how are you going to stand out and hopefully get that job? We're going to throw around some do's and don'ts. Let's see. I've got a bug flying around me. Monday is, I'm going to do a podcast on why I think people should learn Axure. I'll show some of my prototypes and some of Axure's features. Of course, I will be plugging my upcoming workshop, but if you've ever been Axure curious, I'm going to do a little bit of simple Axure prototyping, plus show you some of my more complex prototypes, just so you can get a better idea of what Axure can do and why I think it's great to learn. Not sponsored. They do not pay me to say that. I pay them. Tuesday, of course, office hours, ask me anything. Wednesday, the 28th. Do you like comedy? Do you like to laugh? Please put an emoji right now in the chat if you like comedy and you like to laugh. Because Wednesday, 28th October, Kyle says, yes, I look forward to Axure. Good, Kyle. Please join us next Monday. Wednesday, October 28th is going to be Comedy Day on this channel at this time. This is going to be office hours. Ask Debbie's boyfriend almost anything. I'm going to introduce my boyfriend. He's going to be live here on the podcast and take your questions for an hour. My boyfriend is a UX junior. He is still learning. He is in his early 40s, so this is a career transition for him. And he is dating me. And we already have some questions for him from some people who have sent them in. So as a comedy thing and as a celebration, I need this, as a celebration of us hitting 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, the honest way, which I'm very proud of and grateful to all of you, we are doing comedy office hours, Ask Debbie's Boyfriend Anything. So if you'd like to blow off a little steam next Wednesday, come meet my boyfriend. He is threatening to wear a lot of green in front of my green screen, and he's threatening to be not threatening angry, but he's claiming he's going to be just a floating head. I don't know. So that's a little bit of what's coming up on the channel. I hope everybody will mark their calendars and join in, or at least watch the archives. Excuse me, remember, you can always watch the archives at 1.5x or 2x. I try to speak pretty deliberately. If you're watching the video later, I might sound a little slow to some people, so you can always speed me up and power through the videos that way. Okay, so Gopesh has a question. Let's put it on the list of questions. And remember, I'm here another 10-15 minutes, so please send in your questions. You can also use the URL below me. That will be an anonymous question. I won't read your name out loud because I won't know your name. So Gopesh says, how do we prepare ourselves to think out of the box? It's the most important question of which I'm looking for the answer for. Can you please answer it? Sure. So for me, I don't do anything special to prepare myself to think out of the box. I think one of the things that I try to do is never put myself in a box. And one way that you can keep yourself out of the box is, to me, the box is where people already have some ideas or conclusions or solutions, of course, that they haven't tested. And to me, that puts us in the box. We are in the box when someone says, well, I've started sketching this, now you take it from here. Now you're in the box because someone wants you to work within their starting point. So to me, to step out of the box and to get out of the box, we have to imagine all possibilities, not just the ones the stakeholder said, not just the ones the manager said. We have to think way outside of the information we've been given and the boundaries we've been given. We have to go outside of those. So I don't do anything to prepare myself other than I try to avoid hypotheses, guesses, and assumptions or early solutions. Once I've got those, I find that it's very natural for people, even us low ego action heroes. I find it's very, why isn't my low ego? There we go. Even us low ego action heroes can fall victim to the cognitive bias of gee, I'd love to prove myself right. And if we have those early hypotheses or guesses or assumptions or sketches or solutions, we might think, uh-oh, if these aren't right, I'm going to look bad to my coworkers. So I better find a way to just work with these. That puts you in the box. And so if I don't have any early, like I said, early hypotheses, guesses, assumptions, sketches, solutions, there's no box. I can get out of the box and I can say, now I can do the research or I can start doing the architecture or design without the limitation of what I or someone else put on this. Even if someone else gives me their hypothesis, their guess, their assumption, their sketch, I throw it away. Okay, I don't totally throw it away, but I put it aside and I say, let's imagine I never saw that. What is the best thing I can create right now to streamline things for the customer? First of all, I have to understand the customer. Did we do the right research? Make sure you've done the right research. Do not skimp on research. No, 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 never. So what do I know about the customers? What are they dealing with now? Where are those opportunities? Now, if this is about design and architecture, then how do I streamline this for them? How do I make this simple, easy to learn, easy to use, accessible for everybody, and just dream big? What's the best solution here? I also think about my 4 horsemen of bad UX. I'm in here. The 4 horsemen of bad UX, my registered trademark in America, to the person who tried to steal it earlier this year, they are frustration, confusion, disappointment, and distraction. And they will ruin your stuff every time. Any one of these can ruin your stuff. So as I am designing and architecting, I am looking for, based on what I know about our users or customers, will they be frustrated? Will they be confused? Will they be disappointed? Will something distract them? That usually also kills whatever guesses, assumptions, and sketches other people have done that they gave to me that they wanted me to work from. Usually those, because they're guesses and they might not be great, I go, uh-oh, here's the 4 horsemen. This sketch this other person did, it's confusing. It's not the best solution. So I think the number one way, and please, Gopesh, ask me any follow-up questions to this because it's a great question. I don't have a particular thing that I do. I don't have warm-up exercises. I don't have crazy 8s and how might we's. I don't use these things and I'm not into them, but that's also because I feel like I don't need them. If you find that those warm-up exercises help you be more imaginative, help you think more freely, then you can use them. But I don't struggle with that to begin with. I don't struggle with, I don't feel very imaginative, or I don't have a lot of ideas. Like I have to stop having ideas. Someone stop me. So if you're waiting for me to say all of these warm-up games that people play in workshops, I don't do them. I don't do them in workshops, and I don't do them myself. I just don't. So ask me your follow-up questions and let me know what else you got. We are still here a few more minutes. This is Office Hours Ask Me Anything. I'm your friend Debbie Lovett, and you are my low ego action heroes. And I'm here to take any question you might have. And of course, over in the YouTube world, won't you please usability test the subscribe button and ring that bell. Make sure it's working. Empathize with the like button. Please tell the YouTube algorithm you enjoy videos like this. And you can join our Slack channel if you want to hang out a little bit. Maggie says, smiley face. Let's put that up. I don't know why she says it, but she does. And that proves it. Every time I say, I know your PB is your last name, but I always think like peanut butter. But I know you have nothing to do with peanut butter. You're a qualified UX practitioner, unrelated to peanut butter. Have I gotten any emails that I've missed? No. Okay, so nobody is sending anonymous questions. Some of you send me anonymous questions as I'm saying goodbye and signing off. Don't do that. Hurry up. Send your questions now, because once I say goodbye, you are going to get your question answered next week. So please, if you have questions, get them in now. I'm only here another 5 or so minutes. I don't know why everybody waits till I'm saying goodbye, and then they're like, oh, here's 2 questions. Hey, come on. I stop at half past the hour, or unless you're in India, the end of the hour. So that's it. Half past or India, top of the hour. So don't make me stay too long. Hi, honey. What are you thinking? Oh, yeah. People might ask you questions you don't know the answers to. I think you can improvise. Design thinking. That's a great idea, honey. You're fired. No. My boyfriend's going to do design thinking. I'm so proud of him. Gopesh says, thanks, it helps. And yes, it's true. Sometimes our own biases make the problem for us and put us in the box. That's how I see it. Again, someone else might give you a different answer than I've given you. They're going to say, do crazy 8s and do the worst idea and then do the best idea. I don't do that. It's just not me. I also don't sketch before I go into Axure and do medium fidelity wireframes. That's just me. You don't have to be like me. Some people like these exercises to warm up. Some people like to sketch to get their ideas out. For whatever reason, these don't work for me. But if you do them, I would never say, boo, blah, 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 don't do them. If they work for you, do them. I just don't think I need that. Kyle says, LOL. I know. Many design thinking jokes have been made in this house, as you can imagine. Do you remember the last design thinking joke you made? It was really good, and now I forgot what it was. What did you say we would apply to design thinking to? We share a huge home office, so he's over there. We face each other, but I have to look over my screen. It is still office hours. Ask me anything. If you have your questions, get them in now, because then I'm going to log off and you're all going to be like, oh, wait, I had a question. Now, of course, you can always come hang out in the Slack channel and ask me questions there. Oh, no, Maggie says it is peanut butter. This is an old account. Okay. Peanut butter, it is. Kyle says, I think boyfriend will now be promoted to senior. That's right. If he can do design thinking, but just make him head of UX, right? I mean, you've got like, a year or 2 of UX experience, so you're definitely ready for head of UX? Yeah. He says, I want to disrupt things, for sure. He's so disruptive. That's you. Reinvent. I'm writing hey, that's not nice. I'm writing that's my new talk that I'm writing. You didn't know that. You're fresh. You're freshy fresh. That's it. Maggie says you're the senior director of UX. Doesn't matter that you've never been the director. Now you are the senior director of UX. Everywhere. Globally. Global director of UX. That's good. He says he used to use Macromedia Director years ago, so he should be okay to be Senior Director of UX now. So proud of him. Dude, I don't think I have a good thing I can set off for pride. I'm so proud of him. Macromedia Director. Hands up. Who used Macromedia Director? Yee. Shockwave. My boyfriend's now yelling Shockwave. Oh my God. We are so old, honey. There are people here who are half our age who are like, next they're going to talk about rotary dial phones. Frames? Do you mean like on web pages? Well, we still use iframes. Frames didn't totally go away. Kyle says, don't want to show my age. Kyle, you don't have to. I'm honest about mine. I'm going to be 49 in a few months. And boyfriend, you just turned 44? Yeah, we were there for that. Okay. He's 44. Did you get pizza for your birthday? You did. We went to the good pizza. Yeah. I should hold up a picture of that pizza, then we'll start crying. That pizza is so good. Food baby. A word that does not translate well into Italian. Food, baby. This is Office Hours Ask Me Anything, and I am almost out of here. So if you have any last questions and someone is scheduling time with me for Monday, okay. If you have any last questions, speak now, or we will have to catch you next Tuesday. So last chance, everybody. Ooh, Gopesh says, I see some problems as I'm in product-based organization, and sometimes we got some suggestions which our competitors are doing, and I don't think of any good solution to do it. So sometimes we need to stick to their work or their experience how to solve this. It's somewhat the same question I asked before. No, it really is a different question, and I'll happily answer this, and then we're going to have to wind down. Again, I don't know why everybody asks me questions at the very end. You guys have to start coming earlier. I'm here a whole hour. Where are you? So I think the problem, YouTube Monday at 5 p.m. No, everything is half 5, Kyle. I do everything at 6:30 p.m. Italy time. So if you're in UK, it's -1. So it's going to be half 5. All the live streams are half 5. So mark your calendar. So Gopesh. I see that too. I have worked at places where they were like, don't bother doing research, don't bother doing testing, just copy what the competitor's doing because they probably did research and testing. So what they did is probably good. And that's a lie that we tell ourselves. First of all, we don't know what research and testing the competitor did. We don't know if they were guessing. Now we're going to copy their guessing. We have the identical target audience? Sometimes we do, usually we don't. Usually each company has found a way to differentiate a little bit. We're going to specialize with these people. We're going to specialize with these people. Okay, our audiences are slightly different. That means you might not want to copy what they're doing. Their audience might be slightly different. Like I see a lot of people saying, well, Amazon does it, so I'll copy it. Thing one, Amazon does a lot of ugly things. Thing two, Amazon changes their pages constantly with experiments. Which of their things are you going to copycat and rip off? So Gopesh, I think the best thing for you would be to start to talk to the organization about the business risk that we create, the risk of wasting time, wasting money, wasting customer trust and happiness when we do things that are basically guesses. Whether we skimp on UX research and testing to do our own guessing, or we're guessing because we're copying the competitor, or we're guessing because someone put us in a box, all of this guessing is very risky for the company. And that by spending a little bit more time and money now, yes, we're going to spend more time and money now to do some research and some testing, but that should save us way more money and time and way more time in the future when we don't have to fix this or undo it or explain it or support it because it's garbage and answer all these support emails and tickets. So sometimes it's hard for people to calculate that, but if you can start working with other people and start to see, especially where you know a project went wrong, find out what that cost the company. Hey everybody, we spent how many crore or how many dollars or how many euros on this project that turned out to be a partial or total failure. And why was it a partial total failure? I was supposed to guess. You hired me to do this job, but then you asked me to guess. Which other job here is guessing? Marketing, you guessing? Developers, you guessing? Why am I guessing? So I think, this is a much longer answer than we have time for. I would say poke through some of the videos in the YouTube library, especially the perspectives. And I would say also join tomorrow. I'm hoping Joel Barr will have some ideas on how we convince the organization to invest more in research. But ultimately, I think we are going to get farther by proving to people that these shortcuts and these guesses and these copycatting, first of all, it's not innovative, it's not disruptive, and it's very risky and very often costing us a lot of time and money. So hopefully that helps. So again, I've been Debbie, your friendly hostess, and please join for the upcoming streams. And what else can I tell you? If you are subscribed on YouTube, I am now posting the schedules to YouTube, but I think you can only see it in your app. You know how some people post things and you only see it in your app? I don't see it on the desktop, but I tried one of those posts and I put the schedule up. So try it from your YouTube app. So I hope to see everybody soon, especially tomorrow for combating reasons companies skimp on research, and certainly Thursdays, how juniors can stand out. And then we'll keep hanging out together. So thanks, everybody. I'm going to play us out of here. Everybody have a good day, good night. Everybody in India, go to sleep. You're hours ahead of me. If you're in Australia, please definitely go to sleep. And good night, everybody, and I will see you soon.
Thanks for watching. Delta CX is available for consulting and projects related to CX and UX strategy, leadership, training, problem finding, problem solving, and innovation. Learn more at deltacx.com.